Undefined. Would you accept food from a killer whale? Believe it or not, orcas have been seen offering humans fish, birds, and even seals. But why are they doing this? Is it kindness, curiosity, or something more mysterious? Stay with us, because what scientists discovered will change the way you see orcas forever. 1. The shocking scene, orcas offering food to humans. 2. Scientific data, 34 cases recorded in 20 years. 3. Human reactions, accept or reject the gift. 4. Cultural behavior among orcas. 5. Science explains, altruism, play or curiosity. 6. Orcas are dolphins, not whales and their misunderstood name. 7. Orca intelligence and culture. 8. The scientists' warning. 9. Final reflection. Would you accept food offered by an animal? What if that animal were a orca? Just imagine, you're swimming or sitting on the edge of a boat, gazing out at the sea. Suddenly, a gigantic creature emerges from the water. In its teeth, it carries a dead animal and leaves it right there in front of you. The scene seems absurd, but it has actually happened several times. In this video, we'll tell you why orcas are apparently offering food to humans. Do they want to feed us? Play with us, or is there something more sinister behind it? Greetings zoologists. I'm Amanda. And I'm Bruno. And what we just reported was published in a scientific article in early July 2025. The study, published in the Journal of Comparative Psychology, revealed that wild orcas were observed offering food to humans on 34 different occasions over the past 20 years, between 2004 and 2024. And it wasn't just in one place. This occurred in 4 different regions: New Zealand, Norway, Mexico, and Argentina. In about 1/3 of the cases, the humans were swimming in the ocean. In the remaining cases, the people were in boats. Either way, we can imagine the shock these people got when they came across an orca, and sometimes even more than one, approaching with the creature in its mouth. And the offerings weren't random. In 97% of the cases, the orcas waited for a human response. Sometimes for 5 seconds, other times for 5 minutes. And did the people accept this unusual gift? If it happened to you, would you have accepted? Comment here because we'd like to know. But as expected, given the strangeness of the situation, most people, about 88%, refused the gift. In these cases, the orcas simply took the food back, shared it with other orcas, or swam to the nearest person and tried again. In the few cases where people accepted the gift, they threw it back to the orcas, who immediately offered it again. One of the most impressive episodes occurred with researchers. A orca handed over a dead bird, the human returned it, and the orca brought it back. And again, creating a strange exchange, almost like a conversation between species. Among the items offered were fish, seals, seabirds, turtles, jellyfish, and even algae. Some were still alive, others already dead. In some cases, more than one orca from the same family participated in the action, as if this strange gift were a learned custom. And most curiously, these offerings didn't come only from young, playful orcas. Adult males, females, and even calves participated. This suggests that sharing food is a solid cultural foundation among these animals. Perhaps even a bonding or learning ritual. But why would an orca do this to a human being? This doesn't look like play, much less like hunting. So, será mesmo que elas estão querendo nos alimentar? Antes de responder essa pergunta, queremos mostrar aqui produto que a gente usa quando estamos na praia ou no mar avistando animais marinhos. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. And returning to the orcas, let's look at what scientists have said about this unusual behavior. Several theories have been proposed for this behavior. Some scientists believe this behavior is a rare example of what's called generalized reciprocity, which is when one animal helps another without expecting a direct benefit in return, understanding that this behavior builds stronger social bonds over time. In fact, Orcas have a natural tendency to share food within their own communities. But how can we know if they were truly trying to share food as an altruistic gesture? Couldn't they simply have been playing, especially since they are extremely social and intelligent animals? In some cases, it may even be that they were simply playing. However, in most cases, researchers didn't record any other behavior that suggested play. Playful behaviors, such as blowing bubbles or performing acrobatics, were observed in a minority of cases. In other words, this suggests food-sharing behavior rather than play. And if you're wondering how a killer whale could demonstrate such an altruistic gesture toward humans, we need to point out that the popular name, killer whale, given to orcas makes no sense. They're not even whales, much less killer whales. Let's break it down. Despite being called whales, orcas are not true whales. They are, in fact, giant dolphins. The largest member of the dolphin family, which includes most of the animals we call dolphins. And we already have videos discussing the difference between whales and dolphins. The link is in the description. The nickname. The sinister term, assassin, comes from a linguistic misunderstanding. Ancient Spanish sailors called orcas asesina de ballenas, meaning whale killers, because they hunted even larger whales in groups. Over time, the order of the words was reversed and the meaning was lost. They became killer whales. But the original name didn't refer to motiveless violence, but rather to the incredible efficiency of these social hunters. And they're not just incredible hunters. Orcas live in structured families, transmit cultural knowledge, recognize themselves in mirrors, and use their own vocal dialects. Some populations even have specific hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation. This helps explain why some orcas offer food to humans and others don't. Those observed doing so live in shallow waters, hunt prey at the surface, and rely heavily on their vision. Orcas that hunt in deep waters using vantage points never exhibit this behavior. The way they perceive the world also seems to affect how they relate to it. The fact that this behavior has been observed in several whale populations across different oceans means it's not just a peculiar habit of a specific group. Instead, it may represent a fundamental aspect of how orcas think and behave socially. But was that all it was? A gesture of kindness? Other interesting hypotheses have also been proposed. Another possibility is that these interactions represent a form of exploration and investigation. Orcas are naturally curious animals, and offering food to humans may be their way of testing how we react. It could be that they are conducting their own behavioral studies on us. And it's both intriguing and shocking to think that orcas may be doing exactly the same things scientists do, observing, investigating, and testing hypotheses. Gerald Towers, lead scientist on the paper, said, "I think orcas, in some cases, are curious about who we are, and when they stop to offer us food, it suggests they are trying to understand us." Regardless of the hypothesis that explains this behavior, these findings add to the growing evidence that orcas possess sophisticated cognitive abilities that rival those of great apes. They live in complex societies with distinct cultural traditions, use tools, and demonstrate self-awareness. Now, they appear to be curious enough about us to try to share their meals. These observations also highlight the fact that orcas do not view us as a threat, nor as food. We are two apex predators in different ecosystems, and perhaps for this very reason, they feel comfortable interacting neutrally or even amicably. But that doesn't mean it's safe. Orcas are incredibly strong and intelligent, and scientists are issuing a clear warning. This type of interaction should not be encouraged. Accepting a gift may seem harmless, but it can confuse the animals and lead to risks for both them and us. So, the best thing to do is follow researcher Jared Towers' advice. If a vegetable garden ever offers you food, perhaps the best thing to do is what we do with a work of art. Observe and enjoy the moment without interacting, because perhaps there's a hidden invitation, not to eat, but to understand. This study only demonstrates how incredible these animals are to be kept in captivity, performing shows. And we've already talked about the sad story of orcas in captivity in this video. See you in the next video. Bye bye. And we'd like to dedicate this video to all our ambassadors who help us so much to continue creating content here on the channel. What do you think orcas are trying to tell us with this behavior? Leave your thoughts in the comments, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Feral Fables to keep discovering the most surprising stories of the wild world.